Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Crawford and welcome to another episode of Mrs. Cford Vlogs. I know this is a little bit strange. I've got projector light shining in my eyes. I've got my smartboard here. I am really excited about something that I've done the last couple of days, which was a digital escape room, and I combined it with the idea of a scavenger hunt also, so there was some mobility. I know that escape rooms are huge right now, and there are a lot of ideas out there. There are, pre-packaged escape rooms that you can get really easy to bring into your classroom. But I wanted to talk about how easy it is to actually create your own, so that you can make it very specific to what you've learned, incorporating the material and the skills that you've been focusing on, and the students are really excited about it. So if you see here, I titled this breakout room Stop the Sun. So we are about to read a story, Stop the Sun. If you're not familiar with it, it deals with a young boy who really is kind of ashamed of his dad. His dad is suffering from PTSD at the time, though. They don't really have that term for it, and the son doesn't understand it because they don't talk about it. So before we go into this unit, I always like to have the students kind of discover what PTSD is, ask questions, and come to an understanding so that when they read the story, they have a better idea of what's happening and why it's happening. In order to do that with this one, I decided I wanted to create this digital escape room that would focus on them actually having to find traits of PTSD, define it, understand it, explain it, all of that before moving on to our story. A better way than even just sitting there and coming up with their own questions. And I like having them sketch note their ideas for questions and research, and I do that a lot. But this was something different, and again, something that they're excited about. So in Google Sites, when you start this, again, very easy. They give you, if you've never really used it, they give you the opportunity to upload images. You can get free images that way that you know aren't gonna be copyright protected. You can upload your own photos if you have one that you want in there. And they have a few different font styles to choose from, and some of those font choices will put underlines and that kind of thing with them. Then you have this area here that you can explain your scenario. Again, easy to put a text box in. And when you are creating it, it will give you off to the side your choices of the structure for this. And one of them is to allow you to upload an image that you have a background color or background design that you're typing onto instead of it being just white. Right now what we're seeing is what the students would see. So I have it in a preview mode. So when they are looking at it, I have it arranged in order that they need to go. So they would start here, then move here, then they go down. They have to do these three, and then they have a final one down here to get to that last challenge. Okay, now when they click on them, they go to either a form that I've created or another page that will have the activity that they need on there. So this one I did in a form. I typed up my clue. I put, this is the letter that your uncle left behind at his home. It has to contain some kind of code. Solve the code and type the answer in all caps to see where you need to go for your next clue. And then I created this message. They have to pick out what the code is in order to get to that final answer here. When they submit it, so this one happens to be, I chose a code that was looking at the first letter of every sentence. So when they type it in, there we go. I do tell them that it has to be in all caps. Oops. You can see it's giving them a prompt. Now that it's all complete, that it's correct, because I coded in what the correct answer would be, it turned white again. I can submit it, and it gives them their clue. In this case, this is where I brought in the scavenger hunt idea. I put go to the library and look behind the monitor that's closest to the librarian's desk. Be sure to grab your group's clue. So this, by solving that first one, which again, the information was about PTSD, so they had to read through that and interact with it while trying to find that code. So then the response that they got after submitting the correct answer tells them where to go to next. Okay, so when they go back to the escape room, once they found the clue, I had them, that clue directed them to Merriam-Webster and to look up the word trauma. And I said here they had to find definition C. So again, when they put that in, I need to make sure my cap is on. It's and emotional upset. Notice again, it's white, so I can submit it. And now by unlocking that, they've unlocked the information that they're going to need for the next one, which is here, about treatments. So again, you can see how they keep building off of each other. So some, when they get to the end, they'll find a code. Some, they'll find a redirection to a new area for their next information. I do use things like the ifaketextmessages.com. These clues lead them somewhere else in the building, so they had to read both of these conversations and find the clue in each one that would tell them where in the building the next code would be found. This has been, we've done it for 2 days now, and again, the kids were really engaged. They really enjoyed it. I've heard several of them say we should do this again. They want to be first. They're hoping that their groups make it through the fastest. I found a couple things. First of all, that I pull sticks personally, but making your own pairings first, I think is beneficial. It forces them to work with someone that they wouldn't normally choose, and they will see strengths in each other that they didn't know that maybe they had. Second of all, I wouldn't recommend going over groups of 2. So either individually or 2 people is really about enough. They work well together. I did have to have a couple of groups with 3, and I would still say that the 2 is the better choice. The other thing to make sure is that if you don't want them working on it outside of class time, you'll be able to go into it and click unpublish, and then you would be able to make it invisible to them during that time. It is very simple to use to create. You do have to play around with it a while. I'm not gonna lie, it took me hours of investment to create this one the way that I wanted it. But that's because I wasn't exactly sure which programs I was using, how to go from one to the next, to create the forms the way I wanted so that it would show white when the answer was complete and they knew they could submit it. Once I found all of that out though, it will really make the process a lot quicker. I hope that you're willing to try something like this digital escape room. Mix it in with that scavenger hunt idea. It's really fun to see when they get the clue and they know where to go, that they take off, that they're excited, that they want to get there first, that they're hiding their Chromebook screens so that their other peers don't see what clue they got or what code they got. You do want to ask them to make sure they don't ruin it for the other classes. If you have multiple sections, I have 5, so I had to really stress the point that if they give codes away to other people, it ruins the experience for that next group. So I hope that you're willing to try it, that you do something kind of different if you've never experienced this before, never planned one. If you try it and would love to share your experience, I'd love to hear it. If you have questions, please ask me. I'm not an expert by any means, but now that I've gone through it, I think I can probably help you out in your process. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Mrs. Cford Vlogs.